Welcome back to Reddit Echoes. This is where people share the stories they probably wish they could forget. Moments that started out completely normal and somehow spiraled into embarrassment, chaos, or lifelong regret. Today's story is one of those it could happen to anyone situations, until it very suddenly didn't. Story 1. TIFU by scratching my balls and losing a testicle. So, this is the story of how I lost one of my testicles because I scratched my balls and went to sleep. I wish I was exaggerating. I'm not. This happened on the day where I was already running on fumes. I'd pulled an all-nighter to finish a paper, my parents were out, and I was finally alone in the living room, half watching TV and doom-scrolling on my phone, just trying to shut my brain off. At some point, I felt a small itch. Nothing dramatic, just one of those annoying normal itches. So I did what any guy would do. I reached down to take care of business. But I was exhausted, completely unfocused, and instead of scratching the skin like a normal human being, I missed slightly and scratched along the back of this tube-like thing attached to my testicle. I later learned it's called the epididymis. At the time, I just knew it felt wrong. It made me flinch. Not sharp pain, just a very uncomfortable alien sensation. But I shrugged it off, I scratched properly, went back to watching TV, and didn't think about it again. About half an hour later, the sleep deprivation caught up with me hard. I knocked out around 2 in the afternoon. I woke up at 2:45 with a dull, numbing ache in my left testicle. I remember thinking, that's weird. I sat up, drank some water, and went right back to sleep. I didn't want to deal with it. It wasn't screaming pain, just uncomfortable. The next time I woke up, I was curled into the fetal position with my arms jammed between my legs. I don't even remember waking up fully. I just remember pain, the kind of pain that steals the air out of your lungs. It felt like I'd torn something inside my body. My left testicle felt wrong, swollen, soft, lumpy, like it didn't belong to me anymore. When I tried to sit up and adjust my pants, the pain shot straight through my entire body, and then I threw up on the carpet. That's when it finally clicked that this wasn't something I could sleep off. I grabbed my phone, and instead of calling an ambulance like a sane person, I ordered an Uber, because for some reason my brain decided that calling emergency services for ball pain would be embarrassing. So I lay there, on the floor, next to my own vomit, counting down the 10 longest minutes of my life while my body felt like it was on fire. When the Uber arrived, I dragged myself to the door, clenched my teeth, and collapsed into the back seat. The driver didn't really care. I don't blame him. To him, I was just another guy groaning in the back of his car. He dropped me off at the hospital like he was unloading groceries. The next thing I remember is standing in line at the emergency room. I tried to sit down and apparently collapsed instead. I don't remember hitting the floor. I woke up the next morning. I was in a hospital bed. My mom was there, absolutely terrified, and I had one less testicle than I went to sleep with. The doctors told me I'd had something called testicular torsion. Basically, my testicle twisted on itself and cut off its own blood supply. By the time I got there, it was already dead. One of them looked at me and said very calmly, "If you'd come in a little earlier, we might have been able to save it." That sentence still lives in my head. So yeah, that's my story. I didn't lose a testicle because of some crazy accident. I didn't lose it in a fight or a sports injury. I lost it because I ignored a dull ache and decided to go back to sleep. So if you're reading this and something down there feels off, not unbearable, not dramatic, just wrong, don't be me. Don't wait. Don't be embarrassed. Trust me, losing sleep is better than losing hardware.
Story 2. I finished before our clothes even came off. I'm 28 years old, and until recently, I was a kissless virgin. No hand-holding, no hugs longer than a few seconds, nothing. Not because I didn't want it, I was just painfully shy and awkward. Dating always felt like something that happened to other people. Then, somehow, against all logic, I ended up dating this absolutely stunning woman. We'd been seeing each other for 2 months. She was funny, kind, confident, and so far out of my league it felt like she was dating down into the Earth's crust. Last night, I was at her place. We were supposed to have a casual movie night. At least, that's what I thought. She scooted closer. She laughed harder at my jokes. Then she asked me if I wanted to kiss her. I nodded. She leaned in, and just like that, I had my first kiss ever. My brain completely shut down. She kept kissing me. She climbed onto my lap. She ran her fingers through the back of my hair. And that's when my body betrayed me. I finished, fully clothed, instantly. No warning, no subtlety, nothing to hide behind. She froze mid-kiss. I panicked. I mumbled something that probably wasn't even a sentence, grabbed my jacket and ran. I didn't walk. I fled. I spent the rest of the night staring at my ceiling, replaying everything and wondering why I exist. I was certain she was texting her friends about the weird guy who couldn't handle a kiss. She texted me. I didn't open it. I couldn't. Eventually, I did, and it turns out I was panicking for nothing. She asked if I was okay. She said she thought it was kind of hot. She told me I'd build stamina with practice. We're good now. Turns out the only thing I really messed up was assuming the worst. Story 3. I won too many games of Mario Kart. This is one of those stories that only makes sense years later when it's already too late to fix anything. Back when we were younger, one of my closest friends and I used to play video games together all the time, mostly Mario Kart. It was our thing, just the two of us on the couch, trash-talking, laughing, killing time. One day, she suggested we make it more interesting. She said if she won a race, she could do anything she wanted with me, and if I won, I could do anything I wanted with her. Nothing crazy, just playful stakes. What she didn't know was how good I actually was at Mario Kart. The first few wins were harmless. If I won, I'd make her talk like Wario for the next race, or let me borrow one of her DVDs. Stuff that felt silly and fun. We both laughed, but I kept winning. And instead of stopping while I was ahead, I leaned into it. Hard. I started acting like I was unstoppable, bragging, celebrating in front of our friends, pretending to spray imaginary champagne, holding invisible trophies like some cartoon villain who had just pulled off a miracle finish on the final lap. Every once in a while, she'd suggest we play again. Same deal, same stakes. And every time, I'd win. What I didn't know was that after we stopped playing, she would go home and practice for hours. She memorized tracks, learned shortcuts, perfected drifts, all because she wanted to win just once. Not to embarrass me, to get close to me. Years later, after we'd grown apart, she finally told me the truth. She had a crush on me the entire time. The reason she suggested the game in the first place was because she didn't know how to make the first move. She hoped that one day, if she won, she could finally kiss me. And every time I won, I asked to borrow her Linkin Park albums, or told her to draw buff kittens with sleeve tattoos, or made her talk like Wario. She told me that every loss felt like watching the moment slip away again, like practicing for something that never came. Meanwhile, I thought I was just on a lucky streak. I thought I was being funny. I didn't realize I wasn't just winning races. I was unknowingly breaking her heart, one finish line at a time. And that's the part that really gets me. I didn't miss my chance because I was rejected. I missed it because I was oblivious. I didn't lose Mario Kart. I just lost something I never even realized I was playing for.
Story 4. I accidentally approved a very NSFW gift from my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law is the kind of person who loves themed family gifts. Every year it's something coordinated, matching pajamas, matching lap desks, cute, harmless stuff that screams family bonding. So when she texted the family group chat saying she was getting everyone personalized couch pillows, the kind with armrests and pockets, I didn't think twice about it. She sent a few tiny preview images and asked us to choose which design we wanted. Now, important detail, my husband never checks the family group chat, ever, so this decision fell entirely on me. One of the options was anime-themed. My husband loves anime, like really loves anime, so I glanced at the tiny thumbnail, saw a colorful cartoon girl, and said, "That one looks perfect." I did not zoom in, I did not inspect further. This was my first mistake.
Christmas morning arrived. We were opening gifts together with the family, all smiles and wrapping paper everywhere. My husband opened his pillow, went completely silent, mumbled a very quiet "thank you," and immediately carried it straight into our bedroom. I didn't think much of it at first. Later that day, my mother-in-law asked why he wasn't using his pillow while we watched a movie. He panicked. He said something about not wanting dog hair on it and quickly changed the subject. That night, once we were alone, he brought the pillow back out and said, "You need to look at this." I stared at it for a second and said, very cautiously, "It's a happy anime girl?" He sighed and said, "No, it's a hentai girl." Then he pointed out the details. It wasn't subtle, not once you actually looked. The pillow was covered in extremely enthusiastic facial expressions, the kind of expressions that do not belong anywhere near a family living room. I felt my soul leave my body. To be clear, I know what hentai is. I'm not innocent. I just completely failed at recognizing it in a blurry thumbnail. And now my very religious mother-in-law had unknowingly gifted her son an adult body pillow because I approved it. We decided to never explain, ever. For an entire year, that pillow lived in our bedroom, hidden away like a shameful secret. Every time my mother-in-law visited, she'd casually mention how cute those pillows were and how happy she was with the gift. Then the next Christmas rolled around. During gift exchanges, my mother-in-law suddenly got quiet and said she felt sad that my husband didn't seem to like his pillow very much since she never saw him use it. Without thinking, my husband blurted out, "I love it, it's just not appropriate for family time." The room went silent, and then we had to explain. All of it. I have never seen a woman look so horrified in my life. She looked like she had swallowed nails. Her brain visibly short-circuited as she realized she had purchased, wrapped, and proudly gifted her son an hentai pillow. And then she found out that I was the one who told her to buy it. There was a lot of silence, a lot of prayer, and a lot of eye contact that said, "I will never look at you the same way again." So yeah, today I effed up by approving a gift without zooming in, and now my mother-in-law knows what hentai is, and that knowledge can never be undone.
Story 5. I had an itchy butt for 11 months. This is the story of how I spent almost a full year convinced my body was permanently broken because of my underwear. Early last year, I had a vasectomy. Everything went fine. The procedure was quick, recovery was normal, no horror stories. A few days after the surgery, though, something strange started happening. My butt started itching. Not mildly, not occasionally, constantly. At first, I brushed it off. I figured it had to be related to the procedure. Maybe it was the bandages. Maybe it was all the sitting during recovery. Maybe it was because I skipped a shower or two while healing. None of those explanations felt alarming, but weeks passed, and the itching didn't stop. I went back to my normal routine, showered daily, then twice daily. I upgraded every toilet in my house with a bidet. I tried creams, ointments, powders, things I never thought I'd be Googling at my age. Nothing worked. So I did what everyone does when their body starts betraying them. I Googled my symptoms. That was a mistake. According to the internet, I might have hemorrhoids, or pinworms, or some rare, horrifying condition. One forum thread simply said, "This happens when you turn 40. Your butt just starts itching. Deal with it." I wasn't even 40 yet. But after months of zero improvement, I resigned myself to the idea that this was just my life now, an itchy, miserable existence. I planned my days around discomfort. Sitting too long was torture. Forget relaxing. 11 months later, over the holidays, I was standing in my bathroom scratching and mentally preparing myself for another decade of suffering when a thought hit me. Right after my vasectomy, my doctor told me to wear tight briefs for support. I did, for several days. And then, I never stopped. Those briefs became part of my regular laundry cycle. I'd been wearing them constantly for almost a year. I checked the tag, 20% spandex. Out of curiosity and desperation, I looked it up. Turns out spandex allergies are a thing, a surprisingly common thing. I threw the briefs away that same day. Within a few days, the itching was gone. Completely. Just like that. I had spent 11 months thinking I was cursed, thinking my body was failing me, thinking this was just what aging felt like. And all along, the problem was my underwear. I am now itch-free, slightly wiser, and permanently anti-spandex. And honestly, I've never been more grateful for my own butt feeling normal again.